yes, Afwankasa.
So since she's saying it's not the crocro type, she's asking Safwankasa. Safwankasa. We said Safwa is a key, right? What did we say a padlock is? Credo, okay? Credo. So she's asking Safwankasa, is it like a key itself? Is it truly a key? If you put ankasa after something, that is what you're doing. It's like a true something. So ankasa, is it like a true key? Is it a key as in the one that you push in, right, to open? So she answers that in the affirmative. She says ankasa, it is a key, like a push in key.
No diagum no atum.
No diagum no atum.
So she's just repeating what she said as a question. No diagum no atum. And then he will put it in and lock it. And then she answers that by saying, no diagum, no atum. Okay? And then he puts it in and then locks it.
Naturally,
so she didn't finish, but the lady cut in. But she said, naturally, means it means that. So naturally, wo is you. And then ma is children, right? The plural of oba. So oba or ba is one's child, right? And the plural is ma, children, okay? So if I say oba, it's your child, your single child. But if I say woma, I'm saying your children, right? So nature said woma. So that means you and your children. And then the lady cuts in. I and my children, yenidi. So we say this as yendidi, but grammatically, this is yerindidi. It is the future negative. This is how you form the future negative. You bring re before the negative verb. So this is how you would typically write it. And if you say it like this too, you are correct. But mostly, when we say it, we do away with the re. So you hear yendidi, but it's actually yerindidi. We will not eat. Okay? We have didi, which is the intransitive form of the verb to eat, right? So we have yerindidi or yendidi. We will not eat.
For how many days?
Pachobo had 3 days.
So she's asking for how many days in English. And the lady answered that with mepacho ebi wo hɔ a 3 days. This ebi wo hɔ a, we use this to mean sometimes. Okay, sometimes. Even though sometimes in itself is a toda. But you can also use ebi wo hɔ a, although that is more informal, right? So the formal is a toda, right? So she could have said a toda 3 days. Okay, so sometimes for 3 days. 3 days in Twi is nansa. Nansa.
Enti ekwan a mefa so a yebedidi de me ne me ma no na kyese. Makoto.
Enti ekwan a mefa so a yebedidi die me ne me ma no na kyese makoto. Again, the host cuts in, but she's basically saying, you know, so how she and the children would end up eating will all depend on her. So that means she will go out there and maybe buy, right? And then the host cuts in. So we have ekwanya mefaso, which literally means the way that I will pass, right? The way that I'll pass. So we have ekwanya as the way, right? Ekwanya mefaso, that is what it literally means, but we use that to mean how, right? So how I would do something. So ekwanya mefaso akofie, how I will get home, right? Ekwanya mefaso edidi, how I would eat, right? Ekwanya mefaso aye ejumano, how I would do the work, right? So ekwanya mefaso a yebedidi, we said didi is the intransitive form of the verb to eat, right? So we have the ye in front, which is we, right? So she and the kids. And then we have be as the future tense marker, well. So enti ekwanya mefa so a yebedidi die. As for how I and my children will end up, you know, eating, let's just say makoto. That means I will go and buy. So we have the to at the end as to buy. In the previous lesson, we learned that to is to buy and sell is ton. Okay, ton. What was saying? We have the verb wo, which means to give birth, right? In this context, wo can mean several other things because it's a 2-letter word, but here wo is a verb that means to give birth. So what was saying? Saying is a question word that can mean how, it can mean how much, it can mean how many. So here it's being used as how many, okay? So what was saying? Wo is you, ne is and, no is him or her. So in this case, it's him. So what was saying? You and him gave birth to how many, right? So how many children did you and this young man have?
Pacho yewu two.
Me pacho yewu two. So we have me pacho as please. And we have yewu. I told you the verb wo in this context is to give birth, right? But it's in the past. So we double the final letter, right? So we have wo. Yewu two. How do you say two in Twi? Mienu, okay? Mienu. So yewu two. We gave birth to two.
Ukwa wade nyina saa na ote ana echire no yes.
Ukwa aware nu nyina saa na ote ana echire no yes. We have ko, which is to go. And we said aware is marriage, the noun. We get that from the verb ware, to marry, right? So ukwa aware nu nyina saa na ote. Saa na ote means that is how he or she is, right? The verb here is the to be verb form for states, which is te. So that is why we ask saying as how is it, right? There's a link to the whole playlist on the to be verb forms up here. So when I ask you saying, I'm asking how is it, but literally this means it is how, right? So the is in the middle is the te. When I ask you what to say, I'm asking how are you, but literally I'm asking your body is how. How is your body? How is yourself? So the is in there is the te, right? So when you say sa no tie, you're saying that is how he or she is. So I can ask you, inti sa na tie? So is that how you are, right? Inti sa na tie. And if you are like that, you would say, sa na tie. Sa na tie. That is how I am, right? If you are not like that, you would say, Debi mentesa. Mentesa. So she's asking, Okwa aware nu nyina sa na tie ana echire no yes. We have ana as or. We have a lesson on this up here. And then we have echire. We have learned this in the previous episode. We said echire is later. So I can say yebeshia echire. We will meet later. So echire no yes, it was later that he became so. So we have okwa aware nu nyina sa na tie ana echire na yes. So has he been so since you went into the marriage, or it was later that he became so?
Pacho echire no yes.
Me pacho echire no yes. So please, it was later that he became so.
Edi say answer.
Edi say answer. When you ask edi saying, you are asking how long did it last, right? So how long was he not so before he became so, right? So edi saying answer. Answer here is before. So I can say meko krum answer makwa ejuma. Meko krum answer makwa ejuma. So I'll go to town before I go to work.
Me pacho edi 3 years.
Me pacho edi 3 years. So me pacho please. Edi it lasted for, and then you add the number of years to that. So in her case, she's saying that it lasted for 3 years. How do you say 3 years in Twi? Mfie miensa. Mfie miensa. So we have afe, which is a year, a single year. So if you are talking about just 1 year, you use afe, and you don't even need to add back to that. You can, but it's not necessary. because afe in itself is 1 year. But from 2 years going, you use mfie, which is years, the plural of afe. So you add the number to mfie and you have, this number of years. So if it's 2 years, you have mfie mienu. 3 years, you have mfie miensa. 4 years, you have mfie 9. 5 years, you have mfie num. 6 years, you have mfie nsia. 7 years, you have mfie nson. 8 years, you have mfie nwotwe. 9 years, you have mfie nkron. And then 10 years, you have mfie du.
Na wa wo matu
ni nyina. So we said wo is the verb to give birth, right? But then there's a in front, which is the perfect aspect marker. This translates in English as have or has. So we have wawo as you have given birth. But we have na in front, which situates it in the past. We have, a link to the whole playlist on tenses up here. So now you had given birth in the past, okay? So now matu ni nyina. Woma, we said, is your children, right? Woba is your child, singular, right? Woma tu, woma mienu nu nyina. Nyina is all, okay? So she's asking, had you given birth to both children as at that time? Okay, had you had all your kids as in the 2 children at the time?
Debi na menwo ketwano.
So we have debi as no. Na menwo, we said wo is to give birth, but here it's in a negative, right? So we have in front. Na menwo, I had not given birth to ketwano. I hadn't given birth to the little one, as in the youngest, okay? Your last born child is your kechri. So if you are a last born, you are a kechri, okay? If you are the firstborn, you are PSC, okay? PSC. So here she's saying that at the time she had not given birth to the little one.
But ni nyina mu tumi wo second one.
But ni nyina mu no, utumi wo second one. Let's start with but. In Twi, but is nanso. Okay, nanso. We have a lesson on that up here. So nanso ni nyina mu no, utumi wo second is die etoso mienu. Okay, die etoso mienu. But you use this if you are applying it to something like an object. So non-human. For example, if I have 2 phones, the first one is die edikan. Okay, die edikan. So my phone na edikan, my first phone. The second one is die etoso mienu. The third one is die etoso miensa. The fourth one is die etoso 9. The fifth one is die etoso num. The sixth one is die etoso nsia. The seventh one is die etoso nson. The 8th one is die etoso nwotwe. The 9th one is the etoso nkron, and then the 10th one is the etoso du, okay? And the here is it, because we are applying it to a non-human. But if it's human, then the will change to o, okay? So we have die odikan, die otoso mienu, die otoso miensa, die otoso 9, die otoso num, die otoso nsia, die otoso nson, die otoso nwotwe, die otoso nkron, and die otoso du. So here we have nanso ni nyina mu no, utime wo die otoso mienu, but through all that, you were able to give birth to the second one. Second one here applying to, the second child, right? So we have o toso mienu, not e toso mienu, okay? So wutume wo die otoso mienu, to me is to be able, okay? To be able or to be capable. In English, this can translate as can, okay? So if I say metumi aye, I'm saying I can do it, okay? Metumi akọ Kumasi abasisi ya, I can go to Kumasi and return right now.
Mepacho
you. So I told you that you is equiapem for yes, okay? In Asante Twi, it is ane.
Let's say unku.
Nekyerese enku, we have ekyerese, and I told you ekyerese means that. Okay? So we have nekyerese enku. The verb here is ku, and ku or kum means to kill, right? To kill. But there's in front, which means it's negative, right? To not kill. And then there's a in front. From this lesson, I told you that to situate a negative verb in the past, you simply bring a in front of the negative verb, and that's it. So, nakyerese enku. So that means it did not kill you.
Adena
fede ufrimu. We have aden, which is why. So one of the question words, again, there's a link to the whole playlist up here. So we have aden as why. Aden na fede ufrimu. We have afe, which is now, but now in relation to another time. Okay. So aden na afede ufrimu. Frimu is to come out of something, right? To leave something. So, frimu, you are leaving it. You are coming out of it. So, aden na fede frimu. Why are you now leaving it? Like leaving the marriage, right? So, since you are saying that your husband changed even before you had your second child, and you didn't bother to leave then, why are you leaving the marriage now?
Mama de oye ne ya tete.
Mama pacho de oye no ya tete. We said de oye no means what he is doing. Ya tete. Atete is a noun that comes from the verb tete. When you tete someone, so when you tete someone, you frustrate the person, you stress the person out. So when you say eyatete, you mean it is frustrating, right? It's something that stresses you out. So mama pacho dear oye no eyatete. So mom, please, what he's doing is frustrating. It's stressing me out.
Insembia or bekano.
Insembia or bekano. So we have insem, which is the plural of asem. Asem literally means an issue, right? A matter, right? And then we have insem as issues. Here it is being used as words, right? So asem would have been a word. So insembia obekano, the kinds of words that he would use. Literally, this is the words that he would say. So we have ka as to say, right? Insembia obekano, the kinds of words that he would say, the kinds of things that he would, say.
Uyi na no pe no akacho say opako.
Uyi na no pe no akacho say opako. So we have the phrasal verb yi ano, and yi ano means to answer or to respond to. All right. You can also use bua. Okay, bua. So uyi na no pe, as soon as you answer him or you respond to him. So when he uses those words and then you respond to him, now wakachre will say opako. Kachre means to tell to. To tell to. So now wakachre will say, and then he will tell you that opako. We have this pe, and that is to like or to want. Followed by this a, and this indicates that we are dealing with an if or when clause. So when you say opa or se opa, you are saying if you like or if you want, ko, go. Okay? So in sembia or bekano, the kinds of words that he would use, that he would say, we na no pe no wakacha say opa ko. As soon as you respond to him, he would tell you if you like, go.
Omeko na oba foforo beba.
Meko na oba foforo beba. Again, we have ko, which is to go. We have ne, which is from ene, and that is today. Okay, today. Yesterday is enra, enra or nra. Tomorrow is ochina, ochina or china. Okay, so we have meko na. Again, we have the a, which again indicates that you are dealing with an if or when clause. Okay? So we have mekona or semekona. If I go today, if I leave today, oba fufro beba. Oba is a woman, female. Okay? We have fufro, and fufro is new. We can also use this to mean another. Okay? So oba fufro is a new woman or another woman. Okay? Oba fufro beba. Ba is to come. And then we have the future tense marker be in front, which is will. So oba fufro beba, another woman will come.
I'm patronia me adom me hoye. Patrowe de boko. Me ne abrante bi e ware na ware ni mu no me hu se de wo ye me no manko me ma me ho no mo obekum me. Ti me pake
wo ye wo ho ade.
Patroye me ho ade.
Den na wo ye.
Me patro abrante no ni bufu a asese nuane agu fridge mu na watum. Empa ye da so no be yi.
Nuane bi te se dey.
Patro nuane bi te se brode banche bayure ne yano na nkwan ni na obepake agu fridge mu na watum
na fridge na where you safo wo.
Patro you.
Awono na ye because nko hu obi fridge a wa ye krokro de ni bi.
Ana se de nya krokro de.
Yes safo ankasa.
Yes safo ankasa.
No de agum no atum.
No de agum no atum.
Na chere se wo
ne me man ye ndidi. Me man ye ndidi.
For how many days?
Pachobo ha 3 days. Nti kwan ya mefa so aye be didi de me man no na chese. Na koto pacho ye wutu.
Wo kwa wode ni nyina sa na ote ya na ekire no yes.
Me pacho kire no yes a.
Edi science.
Me pacho edi 3 years.
Na wa wo matu ni.
Na ma wo me ma da bi na me ngo ketwa no.
Ba ni nyina mu tumi wo second one.
Me pacho you.
Na je say nku. Na adena. Adena fe de wi mu.
Man pacho de wo ye ne ya tete nsem bi a obeka no. Uyi na no pe no ka cho say o pa akọ. O me kọ na oba foforo beba.